What's up? It's B Dollar again, and welcome to my AEW Wrestle Dream review live from St. Louis, Missouri. We got a lot to unpack tonight, and another marathon show from AEW, because you know how AEW pay-per-views go. They go almost forever when you look at it, and this was a 6.5-hour show. 6.5 hours, unless you want to count the pre-show, if you even sat through the pre-show. So whether you have coffee or energy drink, or if you just got the natural energy to even stay up half the night to watch this whole show, let's get started, shall we? Because in my time zone, it started about 6 p.m. So I'm going to run through this whole tailgate brawl, pre-show, whatever you want to call it, because there's not really a lot to talk about here. So let's just get through this really fast. So we started off with the conglomeration of Tomohiro Ishii, Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, I guess he's featured into this, and Kyle O'Reilly versus the Death Riders of Wheeler Yuta, Daniel Garcia, Pac, and Claudio Castagnoli in an 8-man tag. I have literally nothing much to say about this, okay? It was an 8-man tag. It was a lot going on. I'll be honest, I wasn't even paying much attention to it anyways, given this is a pre-show match and it went like 15 minutes. All I know is that Pac ended up getting the win onto Ishii. He had a running knee on him, so yeah, that's all that really happened there. Like I said, it's a pre-show match. It's not much I could say about this. Next, we had Eddie Kingston and Hook, who I guess are now a tag team. And when this tag match, I don't even know who they even went against out there. They said it was like Cole Carter and Griff Garrison, some frat house. I don't even know who they even really went. Basically, this was a squash match, okay? And I know they had Sammy Guevara cutting a promo during the match because he's part of the whole LFI group now with Roosh and all of them, and they got the Ring of Honor tag titles, so I guess they're in some type of feud. I don't watch Collision, so I don't know what's going on here. I just know Eddie Kingston and Hook got the win, so it was a squash match. Once again, nothing much to say from there. Right after that, they had Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron versus Megan Bain and Penelope Ford. I know Halloween is coming, so they kind of have Ford and Bane out there dresses Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy once again. Like I said, I'm not paying much to any of these matches, like that much attention to it, okay? And I think, listen, it was storming over here during the time, so my reception was out. Because, listen, the pre-show ended up playing on TV, so you didn't even really need to go to YouTube. I ended up watching this on TNT, okay? I just kind of went to go watch it on there. But due to the storm that's going on over here right now, I only kind of saw bits and pieces of the match. But then again, this is another match I will probably see on Collision anyways. Then again, I feel like I've seen this tag match happen like 100 times already. So it's, once again, this is another one of these tag matches where I don't have a lot to say about it. Willow and them got the win. Willow did the Dr. Bomb onto Penelope Ford. So boom, there you go. And in the main, well, I can't even say main event, and the last pre-show match, which here's the thing with this match here. It's FTR versus Jet Speed, right? So, here's the thing. This is a pre-show match. But given they ran out of time on the pre-show, this actually now transfers into the main show of the card, okay? So, this is a pre-show match. But they went overtime. I've never heard about a pre-show match going overtime before. And I've seen a lot of pre-shows in the past. I don't care what wrestling company it is. But usually the pre-show matches always end before the main card starts or whoever's going to kick off the opening of the main show, okay? But I've never seen a pre-show match actually transfer into like the main card of the show. And it went on for a minute. This show was, not the show, but the match was like 13 minutes. And from what I saw in the second half of it, because I didn't see the first like half on TV or YouTube. So when I actually turned the pay-per-view on, the match was still going, and I guess it was already in the second gear, so the match was actually it was pretty good. It was not that bad out there, but like I said, I've never seen a pre-show match transfer to the main card of the show, so I think by the time it was like, 7:10, maybe 7:13, the match actually went off and ended then. FTR ended up getting the win, because I know he had like the Shatter Machine on the Kevin Knight, I believe, and then I think Speedball broke it up. But, like, somehow, Dax ended up getting a pin onto, I think it was on Speedball, if I'm not mistaken. And then, what was it? Stokely ended up holding, Dax's leg so he can, have the leverage pin. So, FTR ended up getting the win from here. But, like I said, I don't really have much to say about these pre-show matches. Because it's like, how many people really sit through the pre-show in general? And given what I saw on that card, it's not much I can really say about it. Like, FTR versus Jet Speed was at least a pretty interesting match. And it wasn't that bad out there. But I'm just more surprised that it actually, transferred into the main card of the show, okay? So this wasn't even the opening match. This was a pre-show match that just went overtime. I've never heard of pre-show matches going overtime before. And then again, this pay-per-view is already long enough as it is already, so we're already in for a marathon of a show tonight. So let's keep going through that. But since we actually got through the pre-show match, the first official match started, I guess, late into the show for the opening match. I know they had Tony Schiavone end up interviewing Charlie Dez. This is actually the widow of Lou Dez out there. She was there for like the opening match, which was Jamie Hayter versus Tekla. Wasn't a bad match, I'll say this. And I guess I could say with as many women's matches they have on like pay-per-views, you don't really see a lot of women's matches that actually aren't for the championship. So this is one of those like rare type of things where it's like two women going against each other that's not actually for either the women's title or the TBS title or whatever type of title they have on here. This wasn't for a title. This was just, I guess you could say, a grudge match given a feud between both of these two and how they've been going on for almost several months ever since Jamie Hayter came back. Because remember when Tekla debuted, Jamie Hayter got taken out by her, but Jamie Hayter was injured and everything, so she was gone for a long time. But it wasn't a bad match out there. I did kind of find the finish a little bit funny, though, that Tekla did like her pose and everything, the whole like Bray Wyatt spider walk thing, and then just kind of got up and ran into a clothesline, and then Jamie ended up hitting the haterade on her for the win right after Queen Aminata came out and hugged her, and then like the rest of the Triangle of Madness stood on the stage. I guess they're supposed to have like a blood and guts match coming up soon or something, because I feel like it's the same women I see on Collision being the same tag match almost every week on there, or some type of variation, or they'll try to put on Dynamite too. But I thought it was a pretty good one-on-one match between Jamie Hayter and Tekla, and it kind of got the crowd into like later on into the match and whatnot. But Jamie Hayter winning, like I said, good stuff. But I just thought the finish was a little bit funny. It's like do your pose and then get immediately hit with the finish and it's over then. So I don't know why, I just found that kind of funny for some reason. The next match was another one of these money. For some reason, Tony Khan loves putting money on the line in matches, even on pay-per-view now. Because I swear either on Dynamite or Collision, it's some type of tag match or a fatal four-way or something where it's like 50 grand on the line, 100 grand on the line, 20 grand on the line, 6,000 pesos on the line. What is the point of these money matches? It makes no sense. The only thing I can give right here, there's at least a difference, that's just actually a little bit of story into it, okay? So the Young Bucks, they did win money last time, but they spent all the money at the casino, or Nick did, and they gambled all the money away. So at least there's some type of a storyline here. But it was the Young Bucks versus the Jurassic Express and a $500,000. So $500,000 we got on the line here, folks. And listen, what do I have the one word I could say about this match? Spot fest? Of course it's a spot fest. What do you all expect? It's a Young Bucks match. You know how this is going to go. Hell, I might as well call it a tornado tag at this point, because when you got the referee in there, Rick Knox, you already know there's no rules if Rick Knox is the referee. It's just anything goes at that point. So I would literally call this a tornado tag match. And trust me, the crowd ate this up. They really did. And I could talk about near falls and finishers and false finishes, because there's definitely a lot of it, whether it be a doomsday device out there or the BT trigger, or even like pile drivers. It's still going to be a near fall. You still get fans trying to chanting fight forever out there and stuff. I know they hit like their own version of like the Meltzer driver, the Tony Khan driver and everything. It had Matt in it, but it was still like a, not kick out, but Nick broke the pin. And then they like start super kicking, Jungle Jack off right there. They super kick him. And like Luchasaurus comes back then because he got super kicked also. So like I said, they're just super kicking everybody and stuff. And I feel like it was one cool counter I saw. Like it was something what the Bucks did, but Jack Perry just kind of got back up. Or he did. It was something where like he had like a Hurricane Rana and then did like some type of pile driver or like a, or was it like a Canadian Destroyer or something? But he hit some crazy move like that out there. And here's the thing. The Bucks, I know they hit like a double super kick on the Jack. And then they did the BT trigger. Was still a near fall somehow. And then like the Bucks was going to go for another one then. Or like more bang for your buck. But Luchasaurus got in there. And then Jack hit like a Poison Rana then. And I guess they hit their finisher after that. And the Jurassic Express won. This match went 20 minutes, by the way, too. So, like I said, it was going to be a spot-heavy match. Like I said, if you know it's a Young Bucks match, you know exactly how this is going to go. But the crowd is going to eat it up. But you know how this works, okay? But right after the match, then, I guess the Jurassic Express was going to leave, but then they looked at the Young Bucks, almost like they wanted to shake hands and respect or offer them some money and everything. Because one thing I forgot to even say about the Young Bucks entrance was that they had all these, like, receipt and everything on there of all the money they spent, thousands and thousands of dollars, either on suits or pyro, and they had system error, so their whole entrance was just another one of the. By the way, they called them the $32, like the $32.15 bucks out there. That's how much money I guess they have left from the transaction. Oh well, yeah, and the entrance kept saying transaction denied, transaction denied. So it's another one of these jobber entrances they have for them out there too. Even fans was trying to give them money and stuff also. So like I said, the only thing I say there was some type of story to this match, because right after that, then, since the Bucks looked like they were going to accept the money, next thing you know, the Don Callis family came out and attacked. It was, Josh Alexander, Mark Davis, and Lance Archer. I'm sure people are going to wonder where Andrade is, and I'm not going to talk about the whole Andrade thing right now, because there's so much to even cover. What do you believe about either Andrade is trying to play both sides getting paid, or it's just WWE getting petty over him leaving, and he didn't have a 90-day contract clause, but now he does have a 90-day thing, so they had to take him off TV after he was here for like 1 week. So you kind of wonder, who do you really believe here if you're reading to that whole story? But I'm going to explain that another time, because that is just a lot to unpack there, given it's like, yeah, this guy just came back to this company, and now what? Like, he can't be on TV due to, I guess, lying to Tony Khan and them, or maybe WWE now is like, no, we got to do it now. So I don't know. I smell a lawsuit coming, but that's a different video for another time. But like I said, you got Don Callis family beating up the Jurassic Express and just kind of looking at the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks leave. Kenny Omega comes out there then and makes the save. He looks at the Bucks, which, one thing my friend Shaggy said is, one thing he said about Omega cannot escape the Bucks or the Don Callis vortex. It's like everything he's involved in, he has to be in some type of feud with them or against them or in some type of way. By the way, what happened to Kenny Omega supposed to going back after Kyle Fletcher after he took him out for several weeks? But then I would say Andrade, but now that's a whole thing. They can't even mention him on TV now. So now it's like Omega, and I guess now he's trying to help Jack Perry against the Don Callis family now or something like that. But Omega basically came in for the save. Then the Bucks walked off. The faces end up getting the upper hand over the heels then, as the faces celebrated and, walked up to the stage. Even Kenny ended up holding up an Inoki Forever sign, because remember, this whole pay-per-view is about Antonio Inoki and everything, because you see that red towel out there that Inoki had always wore. So you see that little bit about that throughout the entire night. But like I said, you're either going to like this match or you're not going to like this match, but Spot Fest is the main word in all of this. But I guess you could say the $500,000 thing was some story to it, and Omega coming out there. But moving on, though, let's get to the next Tornado Tag match, which, in this case, this Tornado Tag match doesn't really make a lot of sense, because here's the thing. We've been seeing the Hurt Syndicate versus the Man for a bit over a month or two. I don't know how many months now, but we've been seeing this for a minute, okay? But here's the thing that doesn't make sense to me. We saw a 6-man tag at the last pay-per-view. We saw a street fight a little bit over a week ago on Dynamite. And now I'm sitting there wondering, like, wait a minute, we're doing another 6-man tag on the pay-per-view again? And now it's a tornado tag match. But here's the thing. What difference does this really make? You had a street fight, which was basically no DQ. And now you have a tornado tag match that's no DQ. So what difference does this really make? It's the same match you saw a couple weeks ago, except the Hurt Syndicate isn't out there, like, wearing suits and everything. And obviously the crowd was with this match, and there was a lot of crazy stuff out there, like Shelton Benjamin hitting a German suplex on the Ricochet to the outside of the ring. I'm sorry, or was it Bobby Lashley that did it? But yeah, he had like a big German suplex and threw him out of the ring on everybody, and then he did like a big dive, which he almost took MVP out himself also, like a little bit of friendly fire out there. Because, by the way, like, they ended up attacking the Hurt Syndicate before the match even started, while they were doing their entrance and everything. They even pulled steel steps out there and a table, which they ended up powerbombing, like, Shelton Benjamin onto Bobby Lashley, onto the table, and going back after MVP in the end and stuff. Like I said, I know they recovered later on. MVP ended up doing his whole ball and elbow on the Ricochet end. He tried to go for the Playmaker, but, like, the one of the Gates of Agony end up taking him out. Lashley ended up just start going after everybody, even like put Cobra Clutch into whatnot. One of the Hurt Syndicate put him in the Cobra Clutch, but Shelton broke it up then, and then Lashley speared one of them, and then Ricochet was left in the ring by himself. But then I guess his own partner basically sacrificed himself, yelling at the Hurt Syndicate before they just kicked the crap out of him, and like MVP ended up I think it was Bishop Khan, like he kicked him, and then Shelton hit him with a knee strike, and then Lashley ended up hitting the spear for the win. So yeah, the Hurt Syndicate went over right here. So I guess they should be done with this feud at this point. It's like they won like 2-1 now? Because like I said, the Hurt Syndicate got the win back at All Out. And then, like, not the Hurt Syndicate, but the Demand got the first win at All Out. And then the Hurt Syndicate won a couple weeks ago on Dynamite. And now they won the 6-man tag. But now they're supposed to be going after Samoa Joe and them for the 6-man tag titles. You know, my friend told me this earlier tonight. Should Lashley just be going for the World Championship at this point? I said, yeah, I would like to think that too. But I guess they either want to wait on that or something. But yeah, when is Lashley going for the world title? Is that one of the main reasons why he came to this company, if I'm not mistaken? Because it didn't work over there in WWE last time I checked. Well, hell, look at WWE right now. They're using AI, and somehow Lashley's name gets caught up over there with Japanese culture, even though he's not even in that company anymore. But yeah, they're really going to... we'll save that the WWE AI talk for another time, but it sounds ridiculous anyways. But listen, this was just a 6-man tag. The Hurt Syndicate won. It's not much I could say from here. Like I said, you saw a damn tornado tag match literally a couple weeks ago in a street fight. And then it was the same thing again, except less weapons. So like I said, no DQ either way. What difference does it make? And then again, I didn't even know this was for a damn shot at the damn 6-man tag titles. So I didn't even know that till this match even started. So yeah, they'll face the Ops this Wednesday for the title. So I didn't even know that till the match then. Next was the TNT title on the line. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. And I have to say, I really did like this match. I actually thought this was a great match out there with both of these two. This is the 5th match they had. It's 2-2 with both of them. So who was actually going to get the win from this? And I did like this match. I actually thought it was great. I mean, it went like, 25 minutes out there if I'm not mistaken. But hell of a match out there. I actually thought Briscoe was going to get the win. He hit like 3 froggy bows on him because he hit a froggy bow on him on the ropes. Like he was like draped on the ropes and froggy bowed him there. He froggy bowed him to the floor. And then he did a regular froggy bow for the win. Not for the win, but like the 3rd one and everything. And I know they kind of had like back and forth roll-ups until Jay ended up hitting like, not Jay, but Mark ended up hitting like the Jay Driller then. His brother's finisher and everything. But it was still a kick out then. And then, like, Fletcher, like, because, yeah, after he hit the Jay Driller, like, they almost, like, had the 3 count, but Fletcher put his, like, index finger onto, like, the bottom rope, so he still, like, it was still, like, kick out since his, like, handles on the rope and everything, and, basically, fans started chanting, this is awesome. Briscoe tried to go for him again, but Fletcher got out of it and whatnot. He ended up, like, knocking into the referee, and then he, like, kicked Mark Briscoe into the balls then as the ref was trying to recover himself. He hit a brain buster for a near fall, but then they went to, like, the middle turnbuckle then, and then Fletcher hit another, like, brain buster onto the top turnbuckle, which I swear to God, like, Mark Briscoe just bounced off to that all the way to the mat and everything, and then Fletcher ended up getting the win. So somewhat of a clean victory in a way, but still some heel tactics right there from Kyle Fletcher by, kind of distracting having the ref distracted so he can kick Mark Briscoe in the balls. So it could be another match coming from this. I'm not sure. And then like the conglomeration came out to help out Mark Briscoe right after as Kyle Fletcher and Don Callis and the hologram clone or El Clon or something came out and celebrated with them. But actually, this is one of the best matches of the night on this show. So I did like this match, and the crowd was definitely with it. So the crowd was hot for this match. I didn't mind this. It was really good. Right after that, the AEW Women's title on the line. Chris Statlander versus Toni Storm. And I'm going to be honest, I feel like the crowd was a little bit quiet right here. They've really kind of gone back to, I know they had like some few video packages, special entrances they have coming out there. Chris Statlander kind of now going back to her old alien kind of gimmick and everything, because she stopped doing that alien thing for a while, but I guess now she's kind of reverted back to it now, even with the new theme song and the entrance she did out there. This was a good match. I feel like the crowd didn't know who to get behind. I thought the crowd was pretty quiet a little bit on here, given this is a face versus face match, and they did get into it later on into this match and everything, but I almost felt like they didn't know who to really decide from here. Um, I don't know. Like, and I know it was like Tony Storm's rematch and everything. And what I know, Stat hit like a 450 at one point, and Tony Storm had I know she got the kick out, everything. She went for the Storm Zero and pin, but like Statlander got out of it then, and I know they went back and forth, trading German suplexes and stuff. I know Stat ended up getting like the Saturday Night Fever onto Tony at least twice, if I'm not mistaken. But she got the first one there and tried to put it into like a submission then, but Storm and got out of it. Still tried to go for another Storm Zero, but it did not work. Statlander ended up putting into a submission again, and then she let her go and then hit like another Saturday Night Fever for the win. So it took like 2 of them to beat Tony Storm. So it was a clean finish right here. I didn't even think Kris Statlander was going to lose the title given that she just won it. I still think it was pretty random that she won at All Out. I'm really surprised they still took the belt off Tony Storm. I actually thought Tony Storm was going to be taking some type of time off or something, but no, she's still here on TV and everything. So they did the rematch, but I think the crowd was pretty quiet right here. But then again, like I said, it's another one of these marathon shows, so you can't blame them. This is why I feel like the show was starting to drag a little bit here, but going to the next match, it was really starting to drag. But yeah, Statlander won, and then, Tony congratulated her before leaving. And then next thing you know, we probably get to the worst thing out of the night of this show. So they send Mercedes Moné out there, and I swear to God, I thought she hired some male strippers out here to whatever number of belts she has at this point. 10 belts, I guess, which we'll get to that in a second. And it's a lot to really unpack here because this was the biggest waste of time on this show. So here's the thing. She comes out with like these male strippers holding the rest of her titles, and she congratulates Statlander on the win, but told her to get the hell out of the ring instead. She just told the damn women's champion just to leave the damn, like, get the hell out. It's my time now. So, yes, the mid-card women's champion right here for the TBS is telling the damn, the main women's champion here, the top title holder right here, to just get the hell out. And she just listens to her and just leaves. And I'm thinking, like, to myself, okay, obviously this is going to lead to a match and everything. So, at first, I actually thought this was just setting up an angle going into Wednesday, okay, for Dynamite. So, Mercedes is out here saying, which champion am I going to take, or what title am I going to take? Whoever wants to put their title up against mine, bring it on, we're doing a match right now. So, this is technically an impromptu match. So, Mina Shirakawa comes out, who is now the interim ROH Women's TV champion. And at first, I'm like, okay, so she's the interim champion? And I'm like, who was the champion before? Listen, I don't watch Ring of Honor. I don't know what's going on Ring of Honor. I didn't even know who the damn Ring of Honor TV Women's Champion was to begin with. They said it was Red Velvet. But I guess Red Velvet's been hurt that Mina Shirakawa is the champion. And apparently, Mina's been holding this belt since June. So I don't know when Red Velvet is ever coming back. So shouldn't they just give her the title at this point and not even call her an interim champion? Because, like I said, Red Velvet's injured. So why does Mina need to be the interim TV champion in? Like, really think about that. And I'm sitting here looking at this like, wait a minute, and this is a full-fledged match. And I'm going to be honest, I was either looking at my phone through most of this match or talk to my friend Shaggy about this match. I did not care what was really going on here. I thought this was an angle to set up a Wednesday on Dynamite, like I said before. But this is a full-fledged match that went almost like 15 minutes. And here's the thing, too. This makes Mina Shirakawa look bad. Because she's already lost to Mercedes before. And I think that was for the Rev Pro title, I think. The Rev Pro Women's Champion. But it's like one title. It's like 2 belts. Because it was like something that goes with the Rev Pro Women's thing. But here's the thing. She faced Mercedes back in January, I think, at that Wrestle Dynasty show in the Tokyo Dome. Yeah, that was like the night after Wrestle Kingdom. So Mina's already lost to Mercedes before. So it kind of makes her look bad. She's losing now a damn interim belt to Mercedes. So it's like this doesn't make any sense. And then again, it's like it's an interim belt. I had to call my friend Shaggy, like, does this belt really even count, given it's an interim belt? So it's like they had to have 11 title wins right here. And by the way, Mercedes is like, the longest TBS champion, I think, now. So I think she beat Jade's record. which some kind of look at as Tony kind of getting back at Jade, given, she left the company and went to WWE now, especially how they pushed Jade in AEW. They basically booked her like Goldberg and everything. So someone think this is Tony's way of kind of getting back at Jade by having Mercedes now the longest TBS champion or something. And I know, like, right after this match, that at least would, like, made sense enough to come back to the ring and take out Mercedes Moné after being told to leave, which now I believe it's going to be a match at Full Gear for the women's title and the TBS title. I know they said that later on in the night, but listen, man, this whole thing makes no sense. The crowd kind of cared for this match, but it looked like they got to the match later on, but they weren't really surprised who won. So they were really quiet. Like, this was a waste of time. Let's be honest here. This Ring of Honor TV title, and by the way, this is an intern belt too. So this really even count. Or how many people even care about the Ring of Honor TV women's title? Let's be honest. How many people give a fuck about any of these belts this woman is holding, Mercedes? And listen, I know some are going to go on and say, like, this is just to make everybody mad. That's all criticizing everything. But let's sit here and really think about this when you look at all these titles. How many of these titles really mean anything? I can see, like, the CMLL, like, women's title and the Red Pro. There's at least some meaning to that. But all these belts she has, what do any of these really matter? Hell, does anybody even know where these belts even came from? What promotion it was? Or who did she really beat? Really sit there and think about it. Because I think the 10th belt was something called the Body Slam Champion. I'm like, dude, what promotion is that from? And, like, what video footage do they even have from any of these matches? And it was probably done in front of, like, 100, 200 people. It's some indie promotion. And I know people want to, look at it, it's like Ultimo Dragon or something like that. Well, shit, maybe people actually knew what the title's Ultimo Dragon. Hell, even Omega doing the damn belt collector, or even Austin Aries, people at least knew what those titles were. You don't even know half the belts she's holding. It's just random championships. And I'm sure a lot of promoters are looking at this like, hey, we got our title on AEW, we got it on national television. And I'm sure the women she's faced is like, I can understand they kind of perspective, like, hey, they're in the ring with Mercedes and everything, so I'm sure that means something to them. But it's like, how many people give a fuck about these title belts? It don't mean shit. Okay? It don't mean shit. You know this. And listen, you see me come on here, I make jokes all the time about creative control, and it doesn't work for me, brother. It doesn't work for me, sister. Which I'm sure that comes into even valid right here, right now. But how many of you really give a fuck about these damn belts? Like, and listen, I know there's a lot of people that are Mercedes fans. I know. I got friends that are big Mercedes fans. But even they know a lot of this is just really dumb at this point, okay? Hey, she's getting great in the ring. We know that. We already know that. Some maybe think, she kind of spams the Meteora a lot. That can be debatable. But from the gimmick and presentation and promo standpoint, especially in AEW, shit is bad. Like, don't she got like her own personal writer or something like that too? So a lot of this is bad. Okay? So what was really the meaning of this? This was a waste of pay-per-view time. This was a waste of a match. This was a waste of a segment. This went nowhere. So what? She can have 11 titles? What does any of this mean? And like I said, I know it's going to be some people out there that's going to debate. I'm sure they don't have a problem with this because they are fan of hers, and they said, well, hey, this is just to make the people mad and everything and stuff by hating on all these titles. But let's be honest, do you really give a fuck about any of these belts she holding? Do you even know what half these titles are from whatever promotion or country? One's from Scotland, one's from Poland. Like I said, it was probably done in some indie promotion in front of like 150 people or 200. Hell, you didn't even watch the damn match unless they posted on Twitter or YouTube. Hell, I don't even know if the promotion even posted the match online itself. You probably just saw some clips on YouTube. That's it. So really sit there and think about this. And listen, I could sit here and go through a whole count of all these belts if I wanted to, but I ain't got time, and we're already going long enough on this pay-per-view, and I'll say that. It's enough time going on for this, but the show is just dragging at this point, okay? Because let me at least make one example real quick before we actually move on to the next segment. Like the Owen Hart Cup tournament title thing, like that whole belt, why does this even count? You can't even defend that belt, and that belt only works like once a year. And here's the thing. She won that belt, right? And she already had her shot at All In for the women's title against Toni Storm. That's what this whole tournament was for when winning that title, the Owen Hart Cup tournament belt. So you can't even defend it. And then again, she already had a shot at All In, and she lost it All In. So why does this belt even count at this point? And then again, out of all these Owen Hart Cup tournaments, how many people have really held the belt that long? Like, hold it? And they kind of did that at first when Adam Cole and Britt Baker had it, but they kind of stopped doing that after a month. But it's like, you can't defend the title. You can't defend it. It just works as a title shot for the next big pay-per-view that's for All In. And like I said before, she had a shot, she lost, so what is the point of carrying this title belt? Really sit there and think about it. Hey, some people going to think I'm hating or something like that, but really sit there and think about it. How many of these belts really matter? I want you to sit and think about that for a second. So, yeah, this was a waste of a segment. So I've spent enough time on this, but I will say, it does make Mina Shirakawa look bad given now she's lost to her twice. So this was probably the biggest waste of time on this entire pay-per-view through the entire night. But hey, it now builds up a match with Statlander and Mercedes at Full Gear for both the titles. So I'm going to assume Statlander has to get her win because she's lost to Mercedes twice, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think twice. So Stat probably has to get the win in Full Gear now. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's a word for me, brother. That's a word for me, sister. However you want to take this, argue amongst yourselves in the comment section. So, let's move on from this whole thing. I spent enough time on this. But the next match on this show is the tag team titles on the line. Brody King and Bandito, the Ring of Honor World Champion, which I don't even think he even mentioned he was the Ring of Honor World Champion. And like I said, Empire of the Tag Team Champions also, versus the Don Callis family of Kazuchika Okada, the Unified Champion, and the new IWGP World Champion, Konosuke Takeshita, who won the title last Monday at King of Pro Wrestling against Zack Sabre Jr. Some are even actually surprised they even mentioned the IWGP World title because AEW doesn't even mention half the New Japan or CMLL titles, which they have to mention this one. This is the damn World Championship, for God's sake. So they better mention Takeshi as the IWGP World Champion. I will say this match woke the crowd up. It really did. It started off a little bit slow at first and was quiet, but the crowd got into it later on. And by the way, this match went almost 30 minutes, by the way, too. But the crowd was definitely into it. I know they kept showing tension between Okada and Takeshita throughout this match, which it was a lot of crazy spots out there, like the 4-man 21 suplex thing out there. Okada hitting the damn drop kick on the Bandito in midair. Takeshita doing the wheelbarrow suplex on to Brody King out there, which was pretty crazy. Like I said, I know Okada even ended up doing his whole Rainmaker pose with the middle finger after taking down Brody King, and then Takeshita just kind of showed up hitting a elbow drop, he's had his middle finger up, and Takeshita just kind of looked at Okada as that middle finger for me, and then they kind of go back after Bandito again and stuff, and I know Okada's on the outside. Callis walked up to him from commentary, and I guess Okada said he was good and everything. He got back in. By the way, I gotta say that 4-man German suplex thing looked really contrived and really bad because it didn't even connect all the way. Like I said, everybody's down. Okada's trying to go for the Rainmaker in the end, but he ended up taking out Takeshita, not Takeshita, but Okada. He basically was grinning in after that, so he knew it wasn't an accident and he meant to do that. So he smiled after that. Bandito ended up coming back at Okada again and tried to hit the 21 suplex, the 21 plex, but Okada ended up holding on to the ropes then, as Bandito's shoulder was hurt. I know he ended up ducking the Rainmaker in the end, and then Brody King ended up taking him out. Brody King did a dive on the Takeshita to the outside of the ring then. Bandito ended up doing the 21 plex on Okada one more time. And Bandito and Brody King still retain the tag team titles. So I'm not surprised Okada ended up taking the win taking the pinfall right here. Like I said, they're not going to pin Takeshita. He just won the damn IWGP World title. And I know Bandito's son came in and celebrated with him and stuff. So, like I said, Brodito ended up retaining the tag titles. And they did the Macarena dance for some reason after the match. So, Obviously, it's going to lead up to Okada versus Takeshita at some point. And then again, I'm sure some people would think about it. Why would Takeshita even need the tag titles? You just won the IWGP World title. Like, you're the world champion now. I know it's in New Japan, but still, it's still a top title, okay? But listen, I'm sure it's going to be Okada versus Takeshita at some point. For some reason in my head right now, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to do this match at Wrestle Kingdom. If it even goes all the way to Wrestle Kingdom that's far, but it'll probably be on the next pay-per-view for all I know for Full Gear. But hey, we'll see what happens with that. Like I said, I thought the match got better later on, but I'm not surprised Brodito ended up retaining the tag titles from here. But I thought the match got better later on through time, so I definitely did enjoy it. Next was the AEW World title on the line, and I know some people are going to be surprised this was not the main event, which in my instance, I would think it would have been the main event, but I wasn't surprised this wasn't the main event. And you hear me all the time about the World Championship not being the main event of the show. Like, you've seen me talk about that a lot. I think the World Championship should be in the main event of the show. But given how they've been doing Darby and Moxley in the build and craziness with flamethrowers and Molotov cocktails, I'm not surprised the I Quit match was the main event of the show. And we'll get into that in a minute, but let's get through the AEW World title match here first. And then again, I feel like it hasn't been a lot of build going into this anyway, so like I said, I'm not surprised this was not the main event. And I'm going to be honest with you, in a perfect world, I'm sure anybody would think Samoa Joe would win this match and become the world champion, but I knew this was not going to happen here. I knew it wasn't, okay? I thought the match was good, but let's be honest, you knew Samoa Joe wasn't going to win this. This was just to give Hangman a win. It wasn't a bad match, I'll say that. I know, like, Paige ended up, like, overshot, like, the moonsault at one point, and, damn near missed Joe, but he still somewhat covered him, but, like, Paige tried to attack him after, trying to go for the Deadeye, but then Joe came back with a kick, and, like, he powerbombed him then, and hit, like, STF, but, Paige got out of it, and even, when Joe was, like, striking him, Paige said, "Come on, motherfucker," which the crowd, they kind of popped for that then. Paige tried to go for the buckshot, but Joe ducked out of it, went for the Coquina clutch. He ended up hitting the Coquina clutch on him, and he was fading off, but, Paige came back to life, got his foot on the rope then. Joe had got, Paige trying to go for the muscle buster right after that, but Paige slipped out of it. He hit the Deadeye for, like, a near fall, but then, like, Paige went for the buckshot. Hangman did 3 buckshot lariats on Samoa Joe before actually getting the win from here. So Hangman Page still ended up retaining the AEW World title. So it took 3 buckshots to take down Samoa Joe. Next thing you know, the Ops came out to support Samoa Joe, help him up on his feet. Basically, this was another one of these, like, show respect to each other at the end. But I was just kind of waiting for Samoa Joe to actually take out Hangman Page by choking him from out of nowhere and everything. And after they shook hands and stuff, Samoa Joe ended up immediately taking out Hangman with a clothesline. And then all the Ops just start jumping Hangman after that. So I actually thought Hobbs and Shibata were just going to stand there in shock, but they were all in allegiance to each other and just basically, beat the living hell out of Hangman Page. And so they beat the hell out of him and, like, held him up. And, like, Joe ended up holding up, like, the world title and, like, I know he ended up hitting Page with the belt. And then they put him on the top turnbuckle, and Samoa Joe hit a muscle buster on him then, as the Ops just left him in the ring, and Joe flipped off the fan. So I guess the Ops have now turned heel then. Hey, I don't mind Samoa Joe as a heel. Heel Samoa Joe is usually great. So I guess it's not going to be a one-off, and they may have another match with Full Gear then. Maybe Samoa Joe will win the title from there. I wouldn't mind if he won, okay? I'm sure nobody wouldn't really mind that if he won. So I guess they got a heel Joe now. But now, given that's heel Joe, so they got to drop the 6-man tag belts to, the Hurt Syndicate, right? That's what I would think. Since they turn heel and the Hurt Syndicate is face, maybe the Hurt Syndicate wins. I don't know. I'm just taking a guess right here. But now, given that the Ops are heel, I'm sure some people didn't see it coming. But I was just kind of waiting for Samoa Joe to take out Hangman. The way they was milking the whole, respect, celebration, hugging each other thing, you knew somebody, in my opinion, I knew somebody was about to get taken out. So I kind of saw it coming from a mile away. All right? And, after this match, we finally get to the main event in my time zone. This started at 11 p.m. at nighttime. For some people, it started at midnight. And like my friend Shaggy, he already left out of there, okay? So he said he's going to watch the match the next day because this show has already gone on long enough. Like I said, if you count the time, including the pre-show, this was damn near a 6.5-hour show. Like I said, AEW pay-per-views are like a marathon to get to. Hey, I got the energy right now. I'm hyped up. I'm wired up in a way. It's Saturday night, so I got the flow and I'm ready to go, alright? So we already at the main event now, but this is a marathon of a show. So we finally get to the main event. We have a video package. We have Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley in an I Quit match. And listen, at this point when it comes to these two, it's like a game of one-up. Who can do the most craziest hardcore type of death match, garbage match? How far can either of these two go? We have seen a Kaufman match. We have seen the damn, dog pound steel cage match back at Forbidden Door. We've seen Darby get thrown downstairs. The stairs. Hell, we've seen a damn Texas death match with Jon Moxley. For like the past 3 to 4 straight pay-per-views now, we have seen Jon Moxley in some type of wild, crazy, hardcore death match type of thing. This is probably 3 in a row for Darby at this point too. Like I said, the match Forbidden Door and the damn Coffin match. But this is like the 4th one with Jon Moxley, and it's like in the main event. Okay? And like I said, you are either going to like this match or you're not going to like it. And in my opinion, I'm surprised it's not even a damn Inferno match. We've seen a flamethrower. We've seen a Molotov cocktail. I am surprised knowing that they have not committed arson yet and try to set somebody's house on fire like Hangman, or set something on fire with some type of flammable substance, or I don't know what they could have done next to set something on fire. But I was kind of guaranteed somebody was going to get lit fire on in this match. But it did not happen here. It didn't happen, folks. No one was set on fire in this. Because I thought it'd be an Inferno match than a damn I Quit match. Because we've seen a lot of people trying to set each other on fire in this company for the past couple months now. Alright? So, the match starts out. I know Darby's got that flag he put on Mount Everest with the, the AEW flag. Darby immediately goes up at him then. I know he had a dive on to the outside. They're on the outside fighting each other then. I know Marina Shafir is out there. Moxley, he ended up hitting Darby's face on like the middle rope, like into his mouth. I think he started bleeding from that point. Moxley had like a chain or something from his boot and like wrapped it around Darby's arms and stuff. And then like, Darby's got a bloody ear then right after. And then for some reason they take some skewers in, and Moxley takes the skewers. And I thought he's going to jab it in Darby's head or something like that. But he jabs in like under his fingernails and everything. And, Darby said he's not going to quit. And Moxley like stomped on his hand. Darby saying, fuck no. Darby hit like a code red on him into the ring then. It even took like the flag and wrapped it around Moxley's throat and tried to hang him from the outside. Moxley ended up like gouging his eyes in right after that. Darby tried to go for a coffin drop, but Shafir pulled Moxley out of the way, and he landed on the ring apron, which was pretty crazy. And then Moxley started whipping Darby with a belt thing, like you just see the marks on his back bleeding and stuff. And he just kept whipping him in, and then Darby says, "Come on, keep it up, motherfucker," or something like that. And he's just whipping him with the belt. Darby tried to go for a springboard, but then Moxley like a German suplex on him then right after. Starts like going for him then, and then Darby sprayed like lighter fluid into like Moxley's eyes then. So he's got lighter fluid then and like pouring it all over him. And then I guess he pulled out some mace and then, because Claudio and Wheeler and them tried to come help, but they got maced in, I guess. And then Moxley's like, he need a towel and everything to wipe from his eyes. Like Moxley had a death rider in after him. And then he's got like a taser then. And then like Darby blocks it. Shafir comes in, nut shots him. Moxley ends up like tasing him then, and then hits a curb stomp on him. And still, like, it's not even a kick out. It's an I Quit match. So you got to tell him it's I Quit. So then Moxley took a chair then, and then like hit a death rider on him to the chair. And then he like a bulldog choke on him then. But like, what was? They got some tables to the outside, and Darby puts 2 middle fingers up. Claudio military press this guy. Throws him all the way into like the announce table, like 5 feet and everything. So kills him over there. They drag Darby's lifeless body, drags it across from the announce table all the way to Moxley to the apron so he could hit a damn Death Rider through 2 tables then. And still Darby will not quit. And Moxley said this, like, you're like, just quit, all right? These people don't give a crap about you. So then they start, I guess they want to waterboard this guy next. So they take an aquarium fish tank in the ring, an empty aquarium where you put fish in, and take 2 gallons of water, like, like canisters, like a keg basically, pours the water into like the fish tank, and then like Moxley just shoves, like, he tries to drown him. Okay? He literally tries to like dunk Darby's head and keep drowning him into it, which, at this point, I'm just sitting there like, so now we've gone to like some type of waterboarding torture. So it's like, at this point, it's like, it's a game of one-upmanship. How far can you keep going into these crazy-ass hardcore matches? Like I said, I expected somebody to get set on fire here, but it did not happen. So then finally, the lights go out, right? Excuse me. The lights go out, everything's black, and then next thing you know, we got the return of the icon Sting. And Sting now having white hair and a Scott Steiner beard out there. I know he's been kind of rocking that look for a minute, doing like autograph signings and some appearances he's made. So some are calling him white-haired Sting or old man Sting. But it's basically some new version of Sting. Sting was back. He got a huge pop. I actually thought Sting would have been out here to help Darby a while ago. It makes you kind of question where are the faces. I thought the faces was helping Darby on Collision the other night. But now I guess Sting was the only help. Sting came in with a baseball bat. He started choking Moxley out with the baseball bat then. And then he hit the other Death Riders with the baseball bat, hit the fish tank then where glass was everywhere and water's all over the place. And then Sting looked at Moxley then and held the bat at him. And Sting started laughing and fans chanting, "Thank you, Sting." And then next thing you know, he throws the baseball bat to he throws the baseball bat to Darby in as Sting walks away. Marina Shafir tried to get in his way in and tried to hit him, but Sting ended up carrying Marina Shafir to the back and left. And then Darby's got the baseball bat, and he basically looks at Moxley in, and then even like Moxley showing defiant, just smiling in, and then like putting a baseball bat to his head, like take the shot and everything. And then Moxley tried to attack him, but Darby hit him with the baseball bat a couple times, even hit the aquarium, like fish tank. And then he hit a Scorpion Death Drop, and then hit the Scorpion Death Lock right after. He hit the Scorpion Death Drop, hit a Coffin Drop, and then hit the Scorpion Death Lock, and Moxley gave up. So there's 2 ways you could look at this match right here. This was basically mostly Moxley beating the living shit out of Darby, trying to torture him out there through a majority of this match, until some would say maybe Moxley slipped on a damn banana peel, given Sting's interference that Moxley didn't even know what to do right after then, given that all the Death Rider interferences and stuff. Like, it's almost like they did not know what to do when Sting came out there, and then Darby just kind of, I won't say he easily got the win, but he basically just gave him the upper hand to just take a couple baseball shots and using Sting's finishing moves out there to get the win. But I'm not surprised, like, how crazy this went. So listen, by the time this show went off for me, it was 11:30 p.m., okay? So, like I said before, you're either going to like this match or you're not going to like this match. You're either going to like all the hardcore shit that went down here or you're not going to like a lot of hardcore shit that went down here. Because it was a lot of blood. It was a lot of, well, I can't say glass because nobody didn't use any glass. But there was a lot of blood. There was a lot of tables thrown all over the place. Drowning, tasers. Like I said, I'm actually surprised nobody was lit on fire, given they've been teasing it for the past few weeks. So, in a way, I can kind of understand why this was the main event, given the build going into this. That's why I said I wasn't too surprised the World Championship wasn't the main event of this show. But, given Sting was involved in this match, I can understand a little bit more why they left this as the main event. So, hey, cool to see Sting again out there. Because we haven't seen him on AEW since what? Like, I think it was like maybe All In of last year, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Darby got some help from Sting. So, this whole pay-per-view, it's a marathon show. I think this was a good show. I'm not going to sit and say it was great. I'm sure some people get tired of all the near falls. That's one thing AEW has, is just multiple near falls of finishes and people kicking out of them. You never know how long these things are going to go, but let me at least say the things I did like out here. I did like Mark Briscoe and Kyle Fletcher. I think that was probably one of the best things of the night. I think Jamie Hayter and Tekla had a solid opener. I thought the world title match was pretty good, but I think I like the post angle stuff a little bit more. I'm really trying to see what else I liked on this show. Statlander and Tony Storm wasn't a bad match, but I just don't think the crowd really gave a crap about it that much. The Hurt Syndicate versus the Man. It's one of those it is what it is type of things, given how many times we've seen it at this point, but I'm assuming this feud is over. The whole Mercedes 11 belt Ring of Honor inner thing with Mina and all them, that was probably the worst thing out of this entire show. For many reasons that I've already explained before and not going to go back into. So, yeah, you're either going to agree to it or you're not going to agree to it. So, it is what it is on that. The tag title match wasn't bad. I felt like I liked it later on into the show. Well, just the match itself later on. But I think we already knew Bro Dito and them was going to win. The main event, take it how you want. You're either going to like it or you're not going to like it. I don't know how many times I can say it, but given how this feud has been going with both of these two, like I said, it's a game of one-upmanship. Who can do the more craziest stuff out there? Who can try to maim who or try to kill whatever? It's a hardcore death match. So you're either going to like this stuff or you're not going to like this stuff. And given the individuals involved in this, you can't be surprised by all the blood and crazy stuff that goes on. Does this feud continue after this? I don't even know. For all I know, it could not. I don't know how many wins and losses both of them have a piece with each other. So maybe this was the final match we've seen with both of these two that, he was able to make Moxley say I quit. Very quick, by the way, after hitting the damn Scorpion Deathlock on him. But because I thought they would have put the microphone to Moxley's face and we heard it, but the ref said he quit. So there it is. Because the show was basically quickly done over after that, after being 11:30. So like I said, this was another marathon of a show from AEW, okay? You know how this goes. So either you sat through all of it or you didn't. You saw what happened here. So yeah, that's the Wrestle Dream review. If you didn't watch the pre-show, I can't say you missed that much from it. And then again, the pre-show went to overtime with FTR and Jet Speed, which wasn't even that bad in the second half of that match. So whether you saw it in that, hey, I don't know. But this was a marathon of a show. I'm almost surprised this show didn't even go all the way to midnight in Chicago time. I'm actually surprised it didn't because I was actually expecting it to. So, hey, take it how you want it. Or if you didn't watch this show, watch this review. At least I've given you somewhat of a condensed time and tried to explain as much as I can through all of this. But other than that, though, I am done with this review. This was a long hell of a show. I don't know how many times I can state that, all right? So comment, subscribe, hit the like button, hit that notification bell. Tell me what did you think of AEW Wrestle Dream. Did you like this show? Did you hate this show? Did you think it was great? Did you think it was good? What do you think about this show? Please go on ahead in the comment section because, man, I'm hyped up tonight for some reason to talk about this show because there was a lot to speak on, okay? But I've already went on long enough as I can on here. So once again, I leave it to y'all in the comment section, all right? So I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Whatever the next pay-per-view we review or I review, I don't know when the next month it is. Maybe it's Survivor Series. We'll see what happens, okay? But I'm out of here. I will see you guys later. Peace out. Woo!